This is Kieran with Shockbyte, and in this video we're going to be teaching you how to set up CoreProtect on your server. CoreProtect is basically a plugin that allows you to roll back any damage on your server, so it's effectively an anti-griefing tool and a data logger. And it's a great plugin that you can use on maybe a survival server where you're aiming on building things and trying to prevent people from griefing builds. Now before we start this tutorial, there is a link down in the description below so you can learn how to install a plugin, as we're not going to be installing it here, and we will have links down below to a wiki page where you can view the commands and the permissions and some other information about the plugin. So now that you have that information and you have the plugin installed, you can go ahead and join your server and we can take a look at some of the available commands. So as you can see, I've just joined my server, and basically what CoreProtect does, as soon as you've installed it and restarted the server, it will start logging everything that happens in game. So now if I was to just go ahead and break some blocks, let's break these tree blocks here, destroy some of these, just basically let's say I'm ruining the server. And now let's say you come on and you want to restore that back so it's the way it was. Now this can be with any block, it doesn't have to be these ones obviously, it could be a building that's been destroyed, it could be some landscape that's been destroyed. So what you would do, you would come and stand near that area and then you would type the command /co rollback. And then there are a few different settings you've got here. So if we take a look at this page here, which has all the information about commands, you can see the rollback command. So it has parameters for U, T, R, A, B, and E. So user means you can select a specific user and roll back the blocks that have been destroyed by those users. So if I wanted to roll back all the blocks destroyed by me, I would type /co rollback user RacerK12 and then I'd put a time. So that is how long you want it to roll back to. So whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours, you can choose that yourself. Now if you have an area and you don't know who's destroyed it, you could use the radius command instead to roll back. Or if there's been multiple users that have destroyed the area, you could use the radius one. So in this example, I'm going to use the radius. So if we type again /co rollback, and then we're going to type T : and we're going to be typing the time. So if you want it to roll back 5 minutes, you would put 5M. If you wanted to roll it back 1 day, you would put 1D, which stands for 1 day. A week, again, if you wanted to do 2 weeks, it'd be 2W. Maybe an hour, 1H. So they're just the available commands that we can do. I'm just going to do 5 minutes. And then we would put radius. So these blocks are, I would say, within a 5 block radius. So I'm going to set this to 5. You can have this as large as you want now, or as small as you want. And then we're just going to click enter. And then as you can see, all of those have been rolled back. So if we just take a look at the chat, you can see it's modified 3 different chunks. It's rolled back 5 minutes up to a radius of 5 blocks. And you can see it tells you some other information like the amount of blocks that have been changed. Now, if you do a large rollback, it may crash your server depending on how large it is. So I would just be careful. It could be a good idea to do rollbacks in different amounts of blocks. So if it was a large area of say maybe 200 blocks, you could do it in different sections of 50 to cover up the entire 200. So that's the rollback command. It's fantastic and it can save a lot of time on the server to prevent people from rebuilding things that have been destroyed. So now let's say we've rolled something back and we want to restore it back to how it was before we rolled it back. You would type, let's go back to the area again, and we would type /co restore, and then you would type the same parameters again. So I'm going to put T 5 minutes and I'm going to put radius 5, and then again you can see it restores what we broke. So this can be used if a rollback was done by accident or it destroyed something that you didn't want to destroy. Now let's just demonstrate one of the other parameters. So as you can see in this area, the blocks have been destroyed, and let's just do CO rollback, and then let's do the user tag instead. So you could do user RacerK12, and then we would do T and then the amount of time. So let's put 10 minutes now. And then it will restore all the blocks that I've broken personally. It won't do it. So say if there was another player called Jeff and he came on the server and destroyed those blocks, it wouldn't restore those. It would only restore the ones that I broke. Now there are a couple of other useful commands. Let's just take a very quick look at them. There is CO lookup, and then again similar parameters. So you can see the amount of blocks that are destroyed by a certain person or in a certain radius. So if I was to type user RacerK12 and then time, let's put 10 minutes again, it would show you all the blocks that have been removed by me in the last 10 minutes. And you can see there's 8 different pages. So you can do this again with all the same parameters, so you can do it with a radius instead. However, I don't find this too useful, but it can be useful if you don't know who's destroyed an area and you maybe want to ban them on your servers. So you can see I've destroyed this area, so you could ban me for breaking all these blocks. Now the last useful command that I like to use on CoreProtect is CO purge. This basically removes all the data logs that have been created by CoreProtect. So CoreProtect can take up a lot of disk space, and if you believe it's taking up too much disk space and you don't need any of the rollbacks anymore, you could type /co purge and then the time, and it would destroy all the data logs that have happened over the last time that you've set. So I'm going to set it to 1 day just to make sure it clears out everything so we start fresh. So as you can see there, it came up with an error message and it says you can only purge data older than 30 days. So this is because in game you can't actually remove data that has been created within the last 30 days. Now this is a security measure, as it prevents people, maybe admins, from betraying the server and destroying all the data logs so nothing can be restored. So to restore data that was within 30 days and up to 24 hours ago, you have to run that command from the console. So if I just go to the control panel, then console, and then I type co purge t, and then I put 1d, you can see that it's now deleted all the data that happened before 1 day ago. So you cannot actually destroy any data from 24 hours, but you can destroy data past 24 hours if it's ran from the console. If it's ran in game, you can't destroy data for 30 days, if that makes sense. So if you want to take a look at all the commands in game for CoreProtect, you can also type /co help, and that just shows you them all there. So that's basically all the features of CoreProtect in game. It is a fantastic and easy to use plugin. So now let me just take you to the configuration file so we can take a quick look at them. So if you just go over to the control panel, and then on the left hand side click Files, then FTP File Access, and then Login, and then go to your plugins folder, then CoreProtect, and then edit the config.yml file. Now in here it contains all the information available for CoreProtect. So the first setting here which you may want to use is a MySQL database. So if you have a MySQL database and you want to connect it to that, you are more than welcome to do so. So storing it on a MySQL database can be a bit more secure, as it means if someone has access to your server, they can't delete all the data manually by deleting a database file, and it can help clear up some disk space. And all the other settings are basically, they're all commented, so you can take a look through these yourselves. As they're very easy to use. So again, once you've made any changes to the file, make sure you click save and then restart your server to apply them. However, I've not made any changes, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, if you've had any problems with this CoreProtect plugin, there is a Discord channel, so on the Spigot page, we'll include a link to this down below. There's a Discord channel which you can join just at the bottom here, so feel free to join that for support, or contact our support, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to help you. Other than that, I hope this tutorial has been helpful, and I hope you've been able to set up CoreProtect. And I hope to see you in the next tutorial. Goodbye.